Alright. I am Rich, I build stuff, and this is Mamoli Lexington Part 15. So, alright. This thing held up reasonably well to transport. Not perfect, but nothing ever is. Got this little bit right here I gotta fix up. And then I can get to finding my place in this fun house of a set of instructions. Let's see if I can't do that easily enough. You know what, let's go ahead and get this whole desk ready for me to actually get some serious boat work done, huh? Alright. About bloody time. And then I proceed to try to get the instructions all set up and find out just where was I? Hey, at least I've got some music in the background the whole thing this time, right? Alright. Okay, so here's one for you. I'm going to fix this with a bit of a sleight of hand. I'm going to slough this in here. There we go. Okay, come on, get in there. I'm going to slough this in to here. I'm going to make this too small for that rope to escape, or at least for the knot to get through. Slough this, come on, up. Come on, good. Come on, come on. Really, dude, not cool, you prick. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now, with a bit of luck, not through the power of cursing and swearing until whatever's in charge of the universe has had enough. Spoiler alert, the universe doesn't care. And a scant few moments later, that sigh seemed to do the trick. Okay, so those chain valves were like things that apparently held on to the nets that were holding down the masts or something. And I thought initially I could only do 4 on, you know, each of the things that it called for 5 because of where the Canon doors ended up. But I did end up actually being able to fix this problem, as we'll see. Now let's see if I can't make this easy on myself. Where's the vise? Is it down here? Vice. Not things like alcohol, but the actual physical tool. I end up not using this later, finding that I can just get away with my fingers and, like, the pliers, which, that works for me. I mean, it makes my life easier. So I go ahead and I start twisting all these down. I started with, like, 75mm lengths of this wire, and then twisting, because that's what I thought the, you know, instructions wanted me to do. And then I disobey the instructions on something, but that'll be in a little bit, because first, I do a little bit of working on these chain valves, and this is where I find I could do another sleight of hand to get all 5 things on. Perfect. Perfect. I mean, I hate doing it, but I'm getting way too good at these sleights of hand, you know. Alright, so I'm going to explain what just happened. I thought I'd have to settle and only do 4 in each thing instead of the full 5. And then I saw that these are really tiny, and they'll go right there, and it won't get in the way of anything. You know, it won't ruin the illusion or nothing. So it's like, wait a frickin' tick. Why don't I just, especially since this gets covered, commit a bit of a sleight of hand here. Right? These still go around everything. They still look like they're in the right places, but they're not. They're only all off by tiny amounts. Like this one here and here, here, there. That works. This is the only one when I have to get a little more creative. I have to like widen that out a bit. But again, not nearly as bad as it could have been. How bad could it have been? I don't know what kinds of jokes to make, but since I do have the ability to have all 5 of the chain valves in each of those, like or whatever they are, in each of those things on the boat, I go ahead and make the additional 4 I need. Alright, so I got the niece in the room. You can say hi if you want.
Hi.
And so she wanted to watch me do a little building because she's quite interested in what it is that Uncle does in his shop.
Aww.
Yeah, I figured cute was good, and then we were just chatting with each other, but you know, whatever it is kids talk about. And yeah, me just adding these pieces in, so I end up gluing them in, and you may even see me in these sped up moments breathing on them, looking almost like I'm Frenching these. There's actually a good reason to why, and I get to it in a little bit. Alright, now that the quote-unquote niece is gone, get back down here. Figured we could all do with a little bit of cute. Alright, I could do a bit of quality model time. Let's get all these guys sort of and then the quality model time just keeps going from there. I picked this background track because it sounded good to me, by the way. You know, fun. Do we see me French this at all? We'll see. Uh-oh. There's a reason for the change in music we'll get to in a little bit. Okay, so I think it shows up. So you see this kind of white frosting effect? Shows up a lot more here. Y'all are probably wondering, why the hell is he Frenching an American boat? Well, I'll tell you. So I'm using the moisture, the condensation in my breath to accelerate the super glue just a little bit, make, you know, stick a bit faster, stay on. That's also why I did it up here and over here, was to accelerate it so it all stick together. As you can see, though, it has this effect. I think that's called crazing. So now I gotta, not only do I gotta, you know, clean out around these areas now, because you can see it, I also gotta think of some way to cover it up on the metal. Looks like I might have to paint it black after all. And then I do a little more work. So as I'm, you know, gluing more of these in position, this music change has something to do with the camera I get next. Once again, I'm reminded of Ben Franklin's advice. Laziness makes all things hard. Industry all things easy. And so, yeah, really quick on the chain valley thing. So I had been just doing them straight rather than what the instructions said, which was to drill holes in the boat first. But yeah, it's life. Now the reason why you're getting Haul in the Mountain King is because I got a new camera to try out, a camcorder to try to improve the cinematography, and you're about to see in the corner of the screen something. All right. So, before I start listening to something on my cell phone, you'll probably see some footage in the corners of the screen. That's because this is not the first one of these masts I work on. I had I got a new camcorder. Yay, cheap camcorder. Thing even said it was for YouTube blogging and whatnot. Hooray! And then I came to find out something. It requires you to be at least 2 meters away. That's not really gonna do it. It had so much potential. Good news is, there's a second one we were planning on getting anyway. I was hoping to shoot from multiple angles. And maybe I'll even use this one for further angles. But, I think the only real plan for this is to either discard it or... neat. Or, didn't know it had a magnet in it. Or build some kind of optics thing for it, which I suppose I could do, but It'll take a little bit to learn those equations. So let me just wipe this nice lens off here. Hooray. And let's get cracking on mask number 2. While I go ahead and listen to stuff. And listen to stuff I do, so you get to listen to background music and my voice. So, yeah, the idea was, I've been floating for a while, I may have been mentioning on the channel or not, but was to get some new cameras, film from different angles, as well as get a camcorder. Reason for the camcorder is it has it flip behind screen, so I can see what the camera sees. Unfortunately, with that camera, even though it had that ability and the ability to be plugged in and not have to, like, you know, change the camera thing up every 18 minutes, there's a lot of convenience things for the camcorder bit, but it didn't quite work out, unfortunately. But you know what did work out really good was how I did these masts up. So what I did is I took lengths of rope, about the length of the whole mast, right? And I would start at the bottom with, you know, just like a regular slip knot, right? And then I would put I'd have like a short and a long lead coming off this knot. The short lead would be very short. I'd put it straight up and then wrap around the rope, going all the way around until it was like as high as it needed to be. And then I would wedge that whole knot and everything open and slip in the other end of the little rope thing there. Alright, so forgive me, YouTube, for I have sinned. This is a couple of rungs later. Yes, I had the niece in the shop a bit. You know, she just likes to hang out with Uncle, I guess. And yeah, other than that, yeah, it's really bad. It was really bad. It did also, you know, still cleaning up from moving. I'm sure you all know how it is. You move into a house, you're like, great, this is going to be nice, new, everything's going to be clean, we're going to do everything so much better from what we learned the last time, and of course, then you got to organize everything you packed last minute, and yeah, we're still digging stuff out. Yay, projection! And getting this mast work done. Yep. So there we go, yeah, as you can see, no smoke and mirrors, because I wasn't able to do it that fast. So the length is correct. Clearly, though, the drawing's a little off. Huh. Isn't that interesting? Now, except for a couple, you know, regular speed bits, the rest of this move, and even those too, the rest of this thing really boils down to cut sticks to appropriate length, modify per print, and, yeah, that's about it. So you'll see me, I'll either measure repeatedly to get a square section, trying to only go halfway from the diameter on any one side to try to keep the square bit centered onto the mast if possible. This would have been better if I'd, you know, gotten my little tiny 6-in-1 machine, you know, set it in the mill configuration, did things that way. But, well, you know, you live and you learn, right? So as you can see here, measure lengths, and then cut, and then sand the ends as appropriate. And apparently change the music to something a little more upbeat. Alright. And then, of course, I cut with a coping saw in the corner you see there. Alright. So y'all probably wondering, why so brief? Especially since it kind of devolved into just cutting some straight lengths of this stuff. Well, the reason is actually pretty simple. I've got onto those here and here. I gotta put slots into this and then make fun little, you know, bits at the end, but bits for, you know, the end for whatever reason. So, that means I'm gonna have to get a little creative, isn't it? Alright, back to it. Creativity in this case is cutting the little, you know, areas in the mast that are for those little, I'm not sure what those exactly are called, but they're the little flat pieces I'm cutting on the screen right now that have that curvy cut section. They look almost like oars, but meant to fit around a mast because they're supposed to fit around a mast, probably. And I guess they're pivots when you're, you know, rigging them up. But yeah, you saw me just there grab the coping saw and cut straight down the line. As you, and then of course, you know, you didn't really see is me widening it out with the sandpaper a bit, so those pieces of wood would fit in pretty easy. And then I just wrap the end up with the rope again so that it'll look like it's supposed to on the drawing. I was just about to build this one. I remember this guy right here. I think I mentioned previously in the video that I put this here to tell me, you already built these, Rich. So I guess I do this one here. Oh, lovely. Look at this now. Oh, boy. These are going to be interesting. Those are these. Right. Okay. Yeah, I like to use, when I remember to think of it, nice, big, clear visual indicators. Because they're simple. And, well, I'm a simpleton. Okay, a bit of self-deprecating humor there. But I think I'm getting actually to those mass bits that I said was going to be interesting. So a bit of hemming and hawing before figuring out how exactly to do that. And then swapping out the Dremel, because it actually has a smaller, you know, vise in my pin vise. Then a smaller chuck than my pin vise. Then drilling down the ends, putting in these wire bits, because that's what the things seem to claim you're supposed to do on the instructions. And then proceeding to take measurements from the drawing, or to, you know, eyeball it, I guess. But then I drill for the rope that goes around it, and I tie it in another slightly special way to, you know, make it look like there's no real knots. And then, of course, I dab some super glue on so it'll all actually stay. Alrighty. That's enough of it. So, problem time. This only goes up to about 150 millimeters. I have something that is 160 millimeters in length that I have to cut. What do? Well, my thought, come on, this will do it. Come on, there we go, come on, there we are, please. Is to take one of these, and set it to 80, put a mark right there. Is that? Yeah, that's right, right there, Perfect. And tiny enough that I can hide it up against a mass, which I'm going to assume is what the middle of it's going to be. There we go. Alright. So there you go, because I tried to press my mic button so it would record proper. And as you can see there, I once again mark as needed on the little mast bits, get them all the right length, and then proceed to, as I described previously, make my little bits of assembly. Using the sometimes using that scalpel there is sort of a center drill to really get the drill to stay in one spot. Using super glue again holds things down, what have you. So that's about it. Lots of time lapse in this, but a lot of normal speed stuff too. So I don't know, that's a pretty nice change, I guess. Tell me if you like it or hate it, because again, I'm still trying to find out that nice balance and stuff that people like. I don't know, I like this song once in a while, but I'm beginning to think maybe it's just a little tidbit annoying, just a little smidge irritating. Tell me in the comments if you got this far, and if you got this far, I don't know, cantaloupes? No, you're amazing if you got this far, I thank you. Alright, and with that, normal speech time. How's that song go? Beer is good! And stuff. Yes, it is. Alright, so y'all are probably wondering, wait, he's speaking and moving at a normal speed, but it sounds voiced over. Why? So I made a proposal for something I thought was funny in that slow motion, normal speed segment, and what it boils down to is me, my family, and a friend, close friend and their family, must have been exposed to COVID because now we're all sick with COVID symptoms. And, you know, the family friend, we had her kids over to babysit, but she tested positive. Like, she didn't feel bad, but she didn't think it was COVID. And then there you go, now, you all know how that is, I guess. But anyway, so here's the proposal that I conveniently voiced over. Y'all got to put a poll in the comments if you want. Y'all can handle, you know, the gambling and whatnot, the logistics yourself. I'm not putting up any money for it. But, you know, go ahead. Outcomes. Do I live? Do I die? Do I make a full recovery? Or just a recovery? Or do I get long COVID? My vote is that I live, but I get long COVID. That's my quote-unquote bet. Okay, my sense of humor is really, really dark. This is why I have a little bit of a filter on YouTube, but I'm dropping that. Thankfully, it's, you know, dropping faster than the standard seemed to have dropped during the P40 thing, but in my defense, I wanted to test new ways of doing things and editing things and that. And speaking of editing and new ways of doing things, y'all seem not to like that, so we're back to this more standard fare that I do. You know, seeing as no one's leaving comments, I only have the numbers to work by.
Alright. And that's them done. If you're wondering why these three here aren't done, I marked them because they're part of that whole bowsprit assembly over there. Because next time I have a vid, I'm probably going to end up making a bunch of mast bits, rigging them and all that. But that's not for today. That is for another day. So, until that day, probably about 2 weeks from now, hopefully, because I try to put these out every 2 weeks. There we go. I'm Rich. I build stuff. And if you like watching me build stuff, consider, you know, following the whole YouTube dance of like, share, subscribe, hooray! Alright, and I hope you all enjoyed, and hopefully I see you for Mamoli Lexington Part 16. Peace out!